Hey guys, what's good, what's happening, and what's going on? Yes, filming this right after filming the GoPro Hero 12 review, and I'm currently filming with the Hero 12, but I have it a little detuned versus what I filmed with on the previous video for reasons of my computer really does not like 4K editing. Holy, just so choppy. Now I'm trying some stuff to see if I can fix it, and hopefully it does, but we'll see what happens once the proxies are built, because apparently Vegas has the ability to make proxy videos for Ultra HD, but I don't know if it's going to solve my problem. My computer is kind of potato though, but I should try it in 4K and see how the i5-13400 does. It might fare a little better in editing, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, I'm filming this on a Wednesday, and it's probably going up on a Monday, 2 weeks later. Basically, I'm going to talk about my weekend. I kind of mentioned it in the video when I talked about why I had to put Oreo down and what happened there. I'm noticing a whole bunch of weird flowers here. Sorry. Mowed my lawn on the weekend. Figured I'd come and shoot this one outside. It's beautiful out, so why not? So yeah, so on Thursday, as you all know, I had to put Oreo down on Thursday, June 27th. He had to be put down, and it literally killed me, and I just spent a lot of time crying and feeling regret and like wondering if I did the right thing and all that, and like you know, could I have done something different and made him last longer, or you know, anybody's put a dog down, you know how you feel. So my friend Jocelyn, she's put down numerous animals over her lifetime. She's put down 2 dogs, multiple cats. So she knew what I was going through, and she knew the best thing I needed was a distraction. Something to like get me out of the memory house, you know, like in this house, like that's where Oreo was all the time, and coming downstairs and I'd look at the power rack where he would lay underneath and I'd cry, or I'd walk out of my room and look at his bed and I'd cry. And she knew, okay, I got to get him out of the house into the public and get his mind. So Friday night we ended up going to a concert in Sturgeon Falls. Went and saw a band called the Coveralls, really good band. They play cover songs, and they actually wear coveralls, so great name, right? Suiting. Went and watched them. That was pretty awesome. But then while we're there, she's like, hey, you want to come and work a film set tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, why not? I said, what will I be doing? And she's like, oh, well, you'll be a PA. And I'm like, a what? She goes, a producer's assistant. And I'm thinking prestige, right? I'm like, wow, that's a pretty joss. Like, I just freaking, this is going to be my first time. Do you really want to give me such a prestigious role? And she's like, trust me, it's not that prestigious. You're literally a gopher. And that's what a PA is. Producer's assistant, you're a gopher. Like the producer's like, go over there and get those extension cables. You go and get the extension cables, hook up this light and put it over there, go get me a bottle of water, hey, can you go to the food table and get me a sandwich? That's kind of what you do. That's what a PA is. It's nothing prestigious. You're just a gopher. It's like store standards and working at Walmart. Store standards sounds like a prestigious role, but in the end you just push buggies all day and clean up bathrooms. Not very prestigious. Mind you, working at Walmart isn't very prestigious to begin with, because they don't give you any hours and they pay you like shit, but I digress. So I was like, yeah, you know, whatever. I was just happy to get out of the house and go and do something. So Saturday morning we're there for 10 a.m. and I'm getting my crash course in filming. So I walk on the set, and the set was a storage facility up on Highway 11. Walk into the warehouse and there's these cars. There's like a 76 Cadillac Seville, 77 Cadillac, or no, a 70s Cadillac DeVille, a Seville, and then this 2011 Camaro RS. But then dead center was a 1977 Lincoln Continental. And I saw the car and I went, wow, that car, I know that car. I'm like, my buddy Bill had one just like it. And back in 2004, we used to do these things in our cars. Like I had the Firebird, my buddy Joe had his Fox Body Mustang, my buddy Pierre had a Ford Thunderbird with the 4.6 liter. Greg had his Panther powered freaking 4.6 liter Grand Marquis or Crown Victoria, I can't remember. It was one of those. They're all the same, who cares? And we used to do a cannonball run where we would pick a route and you would run it. So you'd be like, for instance, we're at Tim Hortons and okay, so you got to do this route here and you have to hit these streets, how you get to those streets, whatever. And we'd have people at waypoints to confirm that you passed the waypoint to see how long it takes you to make the route and come back to Tim Hortons. We used to do cannonball runs back in the day. And I just remember Bill's car, and I forgot the name of it, and I got the name the other night, and that's a whole other thing. Bill's car can never beat Dirty Bird. He had the 460 7.5 liter under the hood with a whopping 208 horsepower, but the car's a freaking land yacht. He could never take Dirty Bird. He always talked about how big his motor was, but you know what? Displacement back then got beaten by emissions. Those big engines, after 75, they took a dive, right? So I'm sitting there looking at the car and all that, and then the director comes up and he's like, "Oh, you like cars, eh?" And I'm like, "My buddy Bill owned this exact car." I'm like, "You guys cart this in from Toronto?" He goes, "No, we got it from a guy down the road." And I just, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "Was his name Bill?" And he's like, "No, his name's Eve." And I'm like, "But you got it off of Highway 11. He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Is this car prepped? Like, can I open the door or something?" And he's like, "Yeah, go ahead, have a look." I popped the door. I looked in the back seat, looked at the ceiling. There she was. The cigarette burn my buddy Bernie put in the ceiling when we cannonball runned it through Whitfield Station Road and we launched that car over the train tracks. This was the car. Its name was Chelsea. Chelsea could never catch Dirty Bird. And I'm telling the director the story of the car and how we beat the ever-loving piss out of it back in the day doing cannonball runs and all that, like, and the racing and all that. I'm like, this car has always, like, Bill always wanted to take me because he figured he could take me all the time. And, "Oh yeah, I'll beat your car one day. I'll beat your car one day." But like, DB had a brand new friggin' transmission in it. I had some hop-ups in it. She was quicker, she was lighter. There was no way in hell. Like, he wasn't taking me, especially when we had to do corners. Like, have you ever driven a 1977 Lincoln Town Car? They're not exactly handling machines. So I was like all stoked about this. And so we get filming, shooting scenes and stuff on the Saturday. And we ended up going from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. Oh, sorry, 10 a.m. till 2 a.m. Yeah, long shifts. Welcome to the film industry. 16 hours, 18-hour days are not a big deal. So get home, we got to be there for noon the next day. So I ended up going up on Saturday with Joss. I jumped in with her and we just went up. On Sunday, I said, I'm going to bring my own car. I'm going to bring Dirty Bird up because Chelsea was there and I wanted to get them two close together again. So I got up there early. We were starting at noon. I always arrive early, 15 minutes early, just in case there's stuff to do. I do that at work too. I'm always at work 15 minutes early, reading emails, getting caught up on what potentially could go wrong in the day, so I'm aware and ready for the shitstorm. I pull in, nobody's there. So I'm just sitting in my car listening to tunes. And then the director, the producer, and the camera crew roll up. So I get out of the car and the director comes over and he's like, "This is your car?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I have a question to ask you." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, shoot." And he's like, "Can we use your car as a prop? Because we haven't filmed any of the garage scene yet. We just filmed, we faked the car driving because they didn't want to actually drive it. They faked the car driving by doing some lighting effects. Really cool. It looks really dope." So we never had any shots from inside the garage, so you never see the other cars. So they're like, "Can we use your car?" And I'm like, "Yeah, by all means." So sure enough, they have me pull the car in and park it in front of Chelsea. And then I just start, well, once I pulled beside Chelsea, I gave her a quick shot of gas like Dirty Bird's growling at her, right? Because might as well. Gotta let her know, right? Like, even though she was the star of the show, I guess she beat Dirty Bird once. She became the star of the show. I pull my car in ahead of Chelsea, off to the side in the corner. And then I basically we talked some more about cars and stuff. And it was it was pretty funny. Like, they wanted to use my car, so my car became a friggin' celebrity before me on set. And during this whole thing, I ended up not just being a PA. All of a sudden, I'm pulled into electrical. Now I'm running power lines, doing lighting. And then all of a sudden, I'm a cameraman assistant. I'm helping the cameraman load his camera onto his backpack rig so he can carry it around. And then the main star was late showing up, so I get called into action. Now this guy here, he's about, I want to say 5'6", 5'7", maybe 140 pounds. Tiny little guy, I'm 6'2", currently clocking in at 228. So they're like, "Adam, come here." And I come over and they're like, "We need you to put on this shirt, sit in the back seat of the Lincoln. You're gonna be the main character. And I'm like, okay, like whatever. Now I'm a stand-in. I literally played so many roles in this production that it was like super cool. So now I'm a stand-in. I get to, all they needed to see was the back of my head and my shoulder, because apparently I'm guessing the scene Buddy was in a trance. His head was off to the side, so all they saw was my shoulder and the back of my head. Now, like I said, the kid who's the main character, I call him a kid, but he's a man. He's just a lot younger than me. He shows up later on, so of course I'm razzing him, and his girlfriend's there, and I'm like, hey man, I'm like, are you so and so? And he's like, yeah. His name's Corey. I'm like, are you Corey? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, how's your stand-in? His girlfriend. Yeah, because you guys look so much alike. And I'm like, whatever. So basically what they were filming was a short. Now, I've never worked in the movie biz before. Joss, she's friggin' deep in it. Like, she's a wrangler, she's a talent agent. So like, she'll get a message from a director saying, hey, we need 30 background actors to do a bar scene in North Bay or Sudbury or whatever. Go. And then she will go out and start wrangling up people to work those scenes so that they can just focus on getting the shot. She handles all the BG, the background. And she knows a lot of people in the biz too, so that's why she was like, come on out and do this. So I was like, all right, why not? So I basically, and then I helped them. We ended up starting at noon, and we ended at 2 o'clock in the morning again. So we pretty much put in 30 hours in 2 days. Like in 48 hours, 30 hours of that was production. And in 30 hours, what we produced was a 10-minute short. Now, they call them proof of concept shorts. So what happens is you shoot a short of your video, like maybe 8 scenes worth, pin it together, and then you pitch it in front of a bunch of executives. They watch it, and somebody in that group will probably be like, I have a great idea with your concept. You're going to be co-producer. We're going to produce it, but we're going to make changes to it, and it's going to become this, and we're going to give it this name. Like the writer who wrote this short, his name is Will Andrews. You can look him up on IMDb if you want, or William Andrews with one L. He wrote another short called Sundown Soldier, which was basically about a guy who was like an assassin, and his grandmother didn't like all the violence and wished he would get a better job, so he ended up becoming a Meals on Wheels driver. Funny, right? And he would go out and deliver his Meals on Wheels, and the last meal he would deliver was he'd always drive out to his grandma's in the woods and deliver her meal last and sit there and eat dinner with grandma. Well, the groups found out where he was going, tracked him back to his grandma's house. So now he's got to like fight off the assassins without grandma knowing that he's fighting the assassins and not trash the house. So it was Sundown Soldier, like a 10-minute short, and he pitched it, and it ended up becoming a movie called Don't Mess with Grandma. And that one there, you can look it up on IMDb. I don't know if it's out yet because it says that it's still in post-production, so I'm assuming no. But it's got that Michael Jail White, kickboxer. He's in it. And there's a bunch of other known actors like Billy Zane's in it. So that's pretty cool, right? So who knows where this short's gonna go, but apparently I'm being accredited as assistant in this here, so I might even have an IMDb profile once this short gets pushed. But the poster that they're gonna be using, one of the posters is a picture of the Lincoln Continental. I guess it's a Lincoln Town Car Continental. It's a picture of the grill, and on one side is the Cadillac DeVille, on the other side is Dirty Bird's butt. And it just made me snicker. Joss is like, why are you laughing? Like, she was photography. She took all the pictures on set. She goes, why are you laughing? And I'm like, Joss, like, this view is nothing that Chelsea hasn't seen before, because I always beat the car. His car, whenever he'd line up to me on the blacktop and we'd do a drag, I knew I was going to smoke him, because you don't bring a yacht to a speedboat race, you just don't. Yeah, you got a big 460 under the hood, but it's detuned to do emissions, and you're trying to throw a 6,000-pound car down a freaking highway. Like, come on, pull up, bud, with a 3-speed transmission to boot. But it was good that I was on the set too, because nobody knew Chelsea like I knew. And the only reason reason why I got the name is I sent my buddy Joe a text because he had the Fox Body Mustang back in the day. So I sent Joe a text and I'm like, hey dude, check it out. And he's like, wow, that looks like Bill's car. I'm like, dude, it is Bill's car. And I showed him the inside with the cigarette hole. And he's like, holy shit. He's like, what's this for? So I told him the synopsis for the movie. I don't know if I'm allowed to leak that. I don't know. I didn't sign no NDA or anything, but I don't know what the rules are. Like it's basically, synopsis is Buddy's a car restorer. He restores classic cars. He ended up restoring the Lincoln because he got into a car accident with it. He flipped it and it got wrecked and he had to restore it. But what he didn't know was his daughter was in the back seat and she died in the rollover. So she was haunting the car. But as he was restoring it with new parts, her essence was fading and was going. So he hired these people that are like paranormal restorer guys. So they came in and did a seance and brought the spirit forward to repossess the car even though it had new parts. And then my buddy Joe tells me, he's like, whoa. Like he just stopped. He's like, whoa. And I'm like, what? And he goes, you know why Bill lost his license, right? I'm like, yeah, he had bad eyes. He failed his eye test. He's like, no. I'm like, why? And he's like, because like in 2006, he was driving down the waterfront and some kid lost their balloon. It rolled out on the road and they went after it and he smoked the kid. He lost his license permanently and he ended up selling all of his cars. So I'm like, whoa. Like I got the producer now on my Facebook and all that. So I literally told them, I'm like, you couldn't have picked a more fitting car. I didn't realize that Chelsea was involved in manslaughter. And he's like, what? And I told him the story and he went, holy shit. And I'm like, yeah, holy shit for sure. Like I didn't even know that. So my buddy Joe's like, well, did you get to drive it? And actually I did, because the second night on Sunday night, it was Canada Day weekend last weekend, by the way, in case you're wondering why I was up late, and it didn't matter. It's because Monday I got to sleep in and go to Canada Day celebrations at the waterfront. So the reason why it was good that I was there was the transport guy. His job is literally go to the airport, pick up celebrities, bring them in so they can do their roles, and then transport them to their hotels. Or if they're taking a flight right that day to go back home, get them back to the hotel so they can take their flight. He couldn't get Chelsea started. Now, back in 2000, I bought Dirty Bird in 2000. In 2002 is when we started hanging out with all the car guys. 2003, Bill came into the picture. But he always had a problem with the choke on the 460. The automatic choke would fail. So sometimes what he would do is just take off his shirt, take off the air breather, stick his shirt into the carb, kick it over, take his shirt off, put it back on, smelling like gasoline, because, you know, why not? And then get after. So then we rigged it with a manual choke. Any of you guys who watch David's Farm, you know what I mean by a manual choke. Like the Cheviac had one. It was just a lever that would choke the engine. But his wasn't in such an obvious position. Like it wasn't in the open. Like he wanted it hidden as like a theft deterrent. Somebody breaks into the car and goes to start it, they're gonna be cranking it for weeks and it's never gonna kick over because they got nowhere to look. So there's the freaking transport guy cranking on it, couldn't get the damn car started. And I'm like, come here, let me show you a trick with this. And I get into the car and I reach under the dash and I flick the switch and then, flick the slider and then crank it, give it 6 pumps and then crank it, because he always had to give her 6 pumps. And he was treating it like a modern Honda Civic where you just jump in, you know, put your foot on the brake, crank it over and it starts. Can't do that with friggin' Chelsea. She was a bitchy girl. So yeah, sure enough, I choked it, gave her the 6 pumps. Sounds like a friggin' Tinder date right now, but whatever. And then cranked her over, she fired right up. And he's like, holy shit. He's like, how'd you know that? And I'm like, dude, I know this car. I've driven this car. He's like, well, all right. So he was transport. I wasn't allowed to drive it to the other location where we were filming, so he ended up driving it. Of course, he's like, oh, it's just a jalopy. It's garbage. It's blah, blah, blah. And like the car has seen some miles. It is kind of tired. I'll give him that, but it's a 1977 freaking land yacht. It ain't no race car. Of course, it ain't going to be a speedy machine. But later that night, after we're done shooting, the director of photography, he was packing up and stuff, and he's like, hey Adam, he throws me the keys to the Lincoln. He's like, do you mind taking this thing out and parking it around back? And I said, do I mind? I'd be happy to. And that's when I got to drive it. Got to take Chelsea out, and then I took Dirty Bird out. I got a picture of DB on set. I shared it on Facebook. I can probably show you guys that. I don't think I can show you the poster for the video because that's a little bit too much. I got a picture of me sitting in the back seat of the Lincoln Continental. I can probably show you that, but I can't really show too much. Because I don't know what I'm bound to. Like, I never signed any contracts going into that. And then, you know, they fed us. That was awesome. we ate like kings on set. Like the breakfast was catered, lunch was catered, there was always snacks coming in, there was food everywhere. So if you got hungry, you just went over to the food table, they call it the craft table, and just grab a sandwich, grab a chocolate bar, grab a granola bar, a muffin, a cookie, whatever. Like they had all sorts of different shit there, fruits and vegetables and just all sorts of different friggin' edibles. So just grab some food, eat it, and go. And you're thirsty, grab a coffee, grab a tea, grab a pop, grab a bottle of water. Yeah, like it was definitely an interesting experience. And like time flew, like even though it was 30 hours, it just flew by so fast. And it was like something that I could see myself doing again. Now, what I didn't realize was I was getting paid for this. I was literally just going as a distraction, you know? Like I just had something that I really didn't want to do that I did by putting Oreo down. That really like friggin' took me for a loop. And I was like, you know what? Maybe Joss is right. Maybe I should just go get out of the house, distract my mind. And it worked. Like it helped a lot. I'll give her that. It did a lot. Like I still miss my little buddy. Don't kid me. Like I miss him big time. Wake up in the morning. I used to go and, you know, the first thing I would do is get up in the morning, go downstairs and let him outside to go for a shit. And then when he was outside, I go to the washroom, clean myself up, bring him back in, go lift weights, have a shower, get ready for work, start packing my lunch. While I'm packing my lunch, let him back outside to go for a shit. Yeah, so it's completely thrown off my routine. Like, his rope's not even here anymore. I took it down, which I'm surprised he didn't snap it, because literally to take it down, I just had to look at it wrong. It was so degraded. It was bad. But yeah, that worked out well. It kind of helped me get out of my funk. But obviously, I still think about my buddy, because like he was my buddy for 15 and a half years. You know, it was always, where's Oreo? What's Oreo doing? Playing with the dog, doing stupid shit. They don't live as long as we do, right? So it's I needed a distraction, and that was a good distraction. It got me out of my funk. It got me to meet some new interesting people, made some new Facebook friends, chatting with these guys about stuff. Like the one guy from New Zealand, he's a big car guy. He loves cars too. He's got a Lincoln Continental Coupe. He's got a Cadillac DeVille, and he's looking at buying a Porsche now. Which doesn't really mesh up with the other two that well, but hey, you know what? Get a Porsche, cool. I wouldn't fit in one probably, but like he was smaller than me, so he probably just jams in there, no problem. But yeah, like I was showing him a bunch of stuff with the Continental, and he was really, I'm like, here, come over here. Like, come here, put your hand underneath, and just like, because it has these two like bars on each side, right? I'm like, put your hand underneath and feel. He goes, why does it feel rough? And I'm like, because when we came down on the train tracks after we launched this car, she hit and sparked. Like, and he was like, you really did race this car? And I'm like, oh yeah, man, I wouldn't lie to you. I have no reason to lie to you. I'm like, we beat the living piss out of this car. And sure enough, in the trunk of the car, there was Eve left a note back there with a phone number and a price. He wants $5,900 for the car. And you know, if it wasn't rode hard and put away wet, I'd probably consider it. But let me tell you, to get that car roadworthy again, because right now she would not certify. To get that car to certify, you'd have to sink a lot of cash into it. She needs a lot of work. But it still has the MagnaFlow muffler that Bill put on it after he heard Dirty Bird's muffler. And he's like, I like that. Where'd you get that done? And I'm like, oh, Industrial Rad over on friggin' Seymour. And sure enough, he brought Chelsea in and put that muffler on it because he loved the way she sounded. And I told him that. I'm like, that muffler system that's on there is because of my car. Like, this car always tried to beat my car. My car always won. I couldn't take Joe's Mustang, mind you, unless he drove it like a granny, because it was manual and he'd baby that friggin' transmission like no other. Like he'd be like, bum, bum, slow shift into third, bum. And with DB and its friggin' crazy 700R4 stage 3 race kit with the Corvette servo, if you got on the throttle hard enough, she would come out of first and go into second so damn hard it would break the tires free in the back end. Well, one tire, because she's one wheel peel. But yeah, she'd send. It was all depending on how much he wanted to baby the car, if I take him or not. Like a 5 liter Coyote back then put out 225 horsepower. 5 liter GM LO3 only put out 170. But we did the G-Tech dyno. I did it when I first bought the car, and she pulled 120 horse, and then after getting the transmission rebuilt and doing a couple mods here and there with like the new heads and the new tune and all that, she was putting about, I think it was 195 to the pavement, with the G-Tech. So she went up in horsepower after removing the swirl heads and putting the TPI heads on and getting more air to the motor and more fuel through the fuel system to the TBI system, doing some modifications to the ECU and all that. So she got a little bit more jam in her. Still want to put that locker in and maybe go with a 3-4-2 gear ratio. That'd be pretty dope. I could have 2 tire fire and a little bit more get up and go, because that TH700R4, like, it's got a final drive of 0.69. I don't really see a 342 being much worse on gas versus my 272 that's in the, or 273 that's in the back. So I thought about going 373s, but a lot of people said that the 373s are not really straight up. Well, they said they're fun, but take a hit in fuel economy, but I really don't care about fuel economy. If I cared about fuel economy, I would have bought that car with an Iron Duke under the hood or a 2.8 liter. It wasn't about the friggin' fuel economy, it was about the sound. Yeah, so that was my weekend. Friggin' got to play Movie Star. Welcome to North Bay, and like right now in July, it's kind of like a break-in film. There's not too much going on. They just finished filming the TV show Skymed. That wrapped back on June 23rd, I think Joss said. And there's not many productions going on now, which is the reason why they shot this short now, is because everybody's kind of out. So they just jumped into it. But come August, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Could be another weekend production. Joss is going to keep her ear to the ground because she's a wrangler. And if something's going on Saturday where they need somebody, and she'll probably be like, hey Adam, what are you doing? Do you want to come out? Do you want to come and play Movie Star again? You know, so, and I do want to head down to London sometime soon, go visit Crazy British Bloke, see what's going on with him, maybe do a little carp fishing or something. I don't know, we'll see. As long as he's not busy. I don't know what his job situation's like if he's busy doing, I think he's still doing the condo stuff. He's working with the condo corp to keep everything maintained. And like I said, I really miss my buddy, but at the same time, it's like now I got freedom and I keep forgetting that. Like I can work all week and then go play all weekend. I still have the cat and she's a pain in the ass right now. Like she kept me up all night last night trying to sleep, and she's in my freaking ear just meowing right in my face because she's lonely and she doesn't know where the dog is and she doesn't know what the hell's going on, and I can't talk to her because I don't speak meow, and she can't talk to me because all she can do is meow. And I don't understand how to get the message across that you got old, buddy. You got old. He lived his life. She doesn't understand, and it's hard to make her understand. So I'm sure she'll be fine after a while. Just got to give her time to do her morning and give her attentions and pet her, but I can't let her in the bedroom anymore because holy shit, I got like 2 hours of sleep last night because she just wouldn't sit still. She insisted on pacing back and forth like I'm doing on this lawn, and getting right in my ear and unleashing the loudest friggin' meows known to man to give me a headache. And I'm like, would you freaking cut it out? And I even grabbed her and pinned her down and like held on to her, and she like fish out of water got away from me and then just started meowing at me again. I'm like, would you just stop? So finally I was like, yeah, get out of there. Close the door, and then she started playing Guitar Door. Guitar Door is when your cat fires their paw underneath the door and starts pulling on it. Yeah, that's what she was doing. Super. Yeah, I thought I'd mention this whole movie stuff to you guys and let you know. But yeah, I didn't even realize it, but I ended up getting paid for it too. Joss messages me on Monday and she's like, oh yeah, Kat said that the electronic transfer is going to be sent within 24 hours. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, we're getting paid for this. And I'm like, we are? I was literally just going. I didn't realize there was money involved, so made a little bit of scratch on the side, which is the reason why I bought the GoPro, because it made a little bit of bonus scratch. So sweet. I was like, why not? Why not invest in a camera? Seems like a good idea. Well, at the time it did. Still does. This camera films really nice, I gotta admit. Anyway, guys, thought I'd give you a little rundown here and let you know what's really going on. So hopefully you enjoyed the long video, because I assume it's probably super freaking long. Oh yeah, I've been going for 36 minutes. Look at me go. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, click that like button. Any questions, comments, concerns, down below they go. And until next time, guys, live it to win it. Peace the frig out. Sit, stupid, sit. Good dog.